think we should wait for Mr. Christie.
Oh, that's not necessary.
Oh, poor dear little sister. We can't have you looking all dirty. Not for your own birthday party.
Kill them, but why?
For the store.
I think it's been established just how well the whodunit works in the slasher genre. From Friday the 13th Part 1 all the way to Scream. There's something about the mystery and the copious amounts of killing that just works. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but there were a crap ton of slashers in the 80s. 1981 alone saw 36 releases. That's one for almost every week of the year. So I've scoured the depths and found a hidden slasher with a whodunit twist that actually pulls it off in a satisfying way. Heck, I'd go as far as to say that this may just be the most underrated slasher of the 80s. I'm Tyler Nichols, and today on Real Slashers, we're taking a look at 1981's Night School.
A psycho who just likes to go around chopping off heads.
And that's your considered opinion, is it?
15 years on the force.
15 years. Still a sergeant?
Sticks and stones, Lieutenant. Sticks and stones.
I'm stating right from the onset that I am not getting into the giallo versus slasher debate in this one. They're different but similar, and I'll leave it at that. If you get annoyed when I call it a slasher, just pretend I'm saying the Italian word for yellow instead. Night School is set in Boston, Massachusetts, and lets you know right away with so many shots of the city that it'll make your head spin. Fans of Boston, look out. We're quickly introduced to the main motif of the film. Someone is brutally murdering young women. The suspicions are immediately on Professor Millet, who has connections with all of the victims. Is it another student jealous that his attention isn't on them? A jealous boyfriend intent on revenge? Or is it something else entirely? We mostly follow Detective Judd Austin as he investigates the murders, leading him to the night class that all of the victims attend. Spoilers for this 23-year-old movie because it's such an awesome twist that I want you to be able to experience it yourself. The film does a good job as a whodunit, never fully revealing the killer until nearly the 90-minute mark. And by this point, all the signs are pointing to one obvious culprit, Eleanor, Vincent's research assistant. See, Eleanor is 3 months pregnant with Vince's baby and is murdering anyone who would disrupt their sacred family life. The motivations are strong, and it feels different than other slashers at the time. It's not just some psycho who wants to kill. One character that needs to be discussed, however, is the registrar, Miss Helen Griffin. You see, you would think that she's just looking after the girls and wanting to protect them against a sex fiend / potential murderer. Only it's revealed that she's actually the horny adult taking advantage of her students. She's just upset that Vincent is getting to them first. It's a fun little twist and is one of the many ways that Night School stands out. It's not all blood and rainbows, however, as there are definitely some scenes extended just for the sake of time. Hell, we get a whole aquarium scene that has so many close-ups of fish that it just goes on forever. It's about 1.5 minutes of just these fish swimming around and the person feeding them all sorts of goodies. But this is kind of a staple of these early 80s slashers. Producers simply wanted to make Halloween with a different gimmick, and often it results in completely mundane tasks being shown on the screen. But I find a certain charm to them when they're presented. Night School ends with Professor Vincent Millet putting on the killer's motorcycle helmet and fleeing from the police. When he's struck and killed during the pursuit, suspicions are forever off of Eleanor. She got away with it.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Ever worried sick?
Did it for us, Vincent. And for our baby.
I always love a slasher that has the balls to give us an interesting killer, and there's nothing more interesting than a woman out for revenge. Or, well, at least there's nothing crazier, because after an entire film where it seems like maybe this guy is sleeping with his students and then killing them off, it's revealed that it's actually his lover that is killing his other lovers. She wants him all to herself. And let me tell you, this bitch is crazy. Eleanor is Professor Millet's research assistant and mistress who is unhappy with his sleeping around, so she decides to murder all the women to make sure that she has the professor all to herself. She acts so casual that, upon rewatch, it's crazy to notice how much of an absolute loon that she'd have to be to pull this off. And can we also talk for a moment about what a stud Professor Millet must be? He's got women throwing themselves at him and killing each other for him. It's like heaven. That or else this was written as a male fantasy. Wait, it was written by a woman? Well, there goes my theory. The kills themselves are malicious with some pretty great decapitations. The blood has that soupy red quality that doesn't exactly invoke realism, but it's sure charming. We're mostly seeing the aftermath, but there's an intense goriness to those moments. And I have to give it to them for the look. By having that black motorcycle helmet and matching black clothes, more of the killer's identity is able to be hidden. It would have been easier to see that this is a woman without the helmet involved. And yes, they actually had a killer with a similar look in Rent-A-Cop from '87, but I think it's pulled off much better here. She even uses a kukri, which has a curved blade, furthering the killer's originality. I wanted more with her.
The family's sacred. You and me, and now the baby. And any threat to that sanctity, I must strike down. I did it because I love you.
I love the killer reveal in this movie so much, and so much of why it works so well are the scenes before the reveal. There's one in particular that really stands out to me. Eleanor, who is later revealed to be our killer, is on her way home one night being stalked by a mysterious person. It puts her in the victim role, which works to take suspicions away from her. Only once you know who she is, it makes her reactions a bit perplexing. Why do you look so scared here? You clearly have things under control based on your sheer strength and ability to pop off heads with ease. But where things get interesting is with the shower scene. Rarely are the killers put into vulnerable positions, so it's interesting to see her so exposed here. Well before the rules of the genre were established, followed, then subverted, this is just another element that makes it stand out. I mean, heck, I don't remember Pamela Voorhees getting naked in the first act. Ah, if only. Eleanor gets in the shower and there's a long drawn-out sequence where it seems like the killer is going to get her. Only it's her boyfriend Vincent, aka the professor. They go to such pains to try and trick the audience. And what the hell are they rubbing on each other? Oh well, at least we get this cool shot out of it. Even if it looks anything but blood.
You must be completely insane.
Why? For performing a ritual that's been accepted for thousands of years?
Night School released in the United States on September 11th, 1981, and made just $1.6 million at the box office. Its budget of $1.2 million meant that they just barely eked out a profit from production costs. But add in marketing and this was a loss. Despite trying, very few slashers in the early 80s could reach the levels of success of a Friday the 13th or a Halloween. Night School was considered a bit of a pariah by Paramount Pictures, who was embarrassed by the critical backlash. Included as a UK video nasty, it's a shame that this was dismissed so severely upon release. It wasn't until 2011 that we finally received a proper remaster. But even then, it's about as bare bones as you could imagine. No Scream Factory saving the day here. Unfortunately, many of the filmmakers involved left the industry, but there's one that made quite the name for himself. Composer Brad Fiedel would go on to work with James Cameron on the Terminator films as well as True Lies. And to think he was busy toiling away with slashers like this and Just Before Dawn. I like the almost music box aesthetic that his score has, and it adds a creepiness factor to the proceedings. Night School is one of those films that I could easily see being remade. In fact, I'm kind of shocked that it hasn't been yet, and I actually encourage it. This is an awesome story that just hasn't been fully realized. So I'd love to see someone take the basic concept and flesh it out into a modern-day tale. From the ritual killings to the for our baby angle of the killer, there's a lot to like about this forgotten slasher. Just remember the next time you sign up for night classes to watch out for any jealous teacher assistants. They can be deadly.